okay, this was much better. Cue the music. Okay guys, episode 8 of DuckTales, second to last episode before a new episode comes out this Saturday, and man, I'm glad this episode was the way it was. I'm glad they did the whole mummy thing, because you do see hints of that when you do watch the DuckTales opening. And as well, this was a better episode than the one previously. Now they go to a pyramid where a pharaoh is, and I honestly completely forgot the pharaoh's name as time went on, but anyways, they go to the pyramid where the pharaoh was supposed to be, and then they somehow end up in a trap that led them to split them off actually in two different places. And everybody that was there, Donald wasn't there in this episode, which is completely fine. I actually kind of just realized that he wasn't there. Yeah, Scrooge, Launchpad, Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Webby. And Webby and Louie, now they get split up to the right side and go to where the pharaoh does sleep and where he does stay, where all his gold is, and which was actually a really good place for Louie. As for everybody else, they go to the left side where you do see a civilization of people that do dress as mummies. They're not mummies, but they do dress as mummies due to the fact that they're having respect for their pharaoh, and they do give him peace offerings. And when they do that, he does give them his gold shower, which is basically really just sunlight. And they don't even get it for like any hours or anything, because trust me, they're in pure darkness. It's just for a couple of seconds, the latest. But they've been there for years and years, so that's just something that they grew accustomed to. And they do work and slave, and they do try to make food, but because they get such rare amount of sunlight, it doesn't amount to anything. It barely even grows, and it is a lot of work for them to try and work, and they're not that optimistic about it, but it's just something that they became accustomed to. Huey, Dewey, and Launchpad remain there. They realize that they have to go get the kids because they're in there with the king, or with the pharaoh to be exact. They're with him, so they want to get them so before they're locked off from each other, and then they can't escape any longer. So what Scrooge tries to do is try to inspire these people to start a rebellion, but it doesn't really work because nobody's really convinced until Launchpad, who's eating a burrito. They never really had food like that, so when they do eat a burrito, they finally get convinced to start the rebellion. And it's just completely funny due to the fact that Scrooge had good valid points for freedom and to see you appear sunlight, but Launchpad burrito, you know, the power of burritos. I don't have a burrito, kind of made me want one, but I'll eat a Hot Pocket. And now what was interesting with this episode was just the dynamic between Louie and Webby, because you do get to see more of how their mindsets are. And Webby does acknowledge that whenever stuff doesn't make sense, nothing ever really makes sense to Louie, that he just messes up stuff all the time. And then Louie also defended his case, and he had a point that with the place they were didn't actually make sense. And then what you do get a glimpse of the pharaoh when he does shine his light on them, on the civilization. But at the same time, I kind of had a thought that this would be some type of thing, Alice in Wonderland moment. I had a thought that this would be some Wizard of Oz type of moment. And that much I was correct on, because once they do go to the temple, then a guard sees them there inside. When Louie and Webby are inside the pharaoh's tomb where all his riches are, a guard does find them and he does chase them. But then once they go to a secret passageway, another one, they end up in the same place that they started at, where they go back inside the king's tomb, and then they find out that not only is this whole thing a farce, is that the king is full of it too. He's not an actual king. The guard that was chasing them is actually the guy that's been impersonating the pharaoh. And it turns out that his ancestors was the royal guard for the king, and then the king never woke up, and the royal guard wanted to help the king keep his promise with showering the people with sunlight, which they start off as a good thing, but then as time went on, it became a pyramid scheme due to the fact that his family and themselves continued to do it. And once that's revealed, Scrooge comes along with the rebellion. Then a rebellion, they don't necessarily find out, but they do take care of the guard. And then once Louis is just messing around with the body of the pharaoh that's not actually alive, which now that I think about it, that's disgusting. That pharaoh's body is just a corpse, so it's just been there for years. It must reek, if honestly. And then once the pharaoh's body that is attached to these sticks, he falls over this type of circular this circular symbol, and then it actually activates, and then the Pharaoh actually comes to life, and he tries to kill everybody, and I mean, he wrecks everyone. What can I say? He really does. And one moment here was a funny little homage to Michael Jackson. That Dewey tries to, I don't know how that was supposed to work, but hey, you know, I can't say I didn't like it at all. When the Pharaoh takes eye on Louis, because Louis had one of his riches, he does follow after him, he does chase him, and then thanks to the help of Webby, Louis manages to get out of that situation, and then overall they get to take care of the Pharaoh. Then once they take care of the Pharaoh, the people that lived under there, they finally get to see free sunlight, get to enjoy their burritos and all that nonsense that they really love. Even Scrooge McDuck sees a burrito when he was like, just, okay, burritos, really? Are we really gonna be on that? And it's funny how they beat the Pharaoh actually, because when he fell, when he made him fall again, they wrapped him up in like a type of burrito band. And that was the thing that they were doing earlier in this episode that Launchpad was teaching them. And funny how that actually ended up helping them. Power burritos. But that's all I have to say for this episode. I got one more episode to go. And as always, guys, if there's any movies, animes, TV shows, anything else you want me to watch, even trailers as well to review, comment below. Just, it doesn't matter. And as always, don't fail to ring that bell. Like if you dare. Subscribe if you care. And key on for Miles.
I'm like a star. I'm burning out fast. I try to shine, but it's never gonna last.